10 California cities where middle-class families are being crushed out. Across California, the numbers tell a story that millions of families are living every day. In the past 5 years, over 700,000 residents have left the Golden State. And at the heart of that exodus lies a simple, brutal reality. Homeownership has slipped completely out of reach for the middle class. Listen to this. 4 California metropolitan areas now rank among the most unaffordable housing markets on the planet. Not just in America. Home prices have climbed to 9, 12, even 15 times household incomes, creating a mathematical impossibility for teachers earning $75,000, nurses making $85,000, and firefighters bringing home steady paychecks. This isn't about temporary market fluctuations or economic cycles. This is about families who followed every rule, earned degrees, saved money, built careers, discovering that the communities their parents called home now require tech salaries or generational wealth to access. These 10 cities represent the epicenter of California's affordability crisis. Places where the American dream of homeownership has become a distant memory for working families. Tonight, we reveal the cities where middle-class families are being systematically priced out, and why the mathematics of housing has broken down completely. Stay until the end, because what's happening in these communities isn't just a California story. It's a warning about what happens when housing becomes an investment commodity rather than a place for families to build lives. Santa Monica recently passed emergency zoning measures allowing up to 20 units on single-family lots. The move wasn't driven by planning ideals, it was driven by desperation. When a beachside paradise requires emergency housing legislation, the crisis has reached a breaking point. Here's the number that should make you sit up. Median home prices have climbed to $1.8 million, while teachers earn $75,000 and firefighters make $85,000. Even with dual incomes, a nurse and teacher couple bringing home $160,000 combined face a stark mathematical reality. They can qualify for a $480,000 mortgage in a city where the cheapest homes cost $1.2 million. Emergency zoning may create new housing, but even these affordable units will cost $800,000 for 900 square feet. The missing middle housing Santa Monica desperately needs still requires incomes that the middle class doesn't have. Rent control policies designed to protect tenants have had devastating, unintended consequences. Landlords convert apartments to condos or leave units empty rather than navigate restrictions. The policy meant to preserve affordability has reduced rental inventory, driving up costs for everyone else. For working families, Santa Monica has become a place to visit, not to live. The gap between beach paradise and middle-class reality has grown too wide to bridge. Berkeley. Berkeley recently voted to eliminate its 109-year-old single-family zoning ordinance, not out of progressive planning principles, but out of recognition that current policies have created an affordability crisis that threatens the city's identity. The irony cuts deep. The birthplace of progressive politics spent over a century using zoning laws that limited housing supply, then found itself surprised when teachers and social workers couldn't afford to live there. Liberal values met practical housing economics, and working families paid the price. Even with new zoning allowing higher density, construction costs ensure that new housing remains expensive. A 3-story building with affordable units still produces 2-bedroom homes costing $750,000. Berkeley's solution to its exclusion crisis continues to exclude. UC Berkeley employees commute from the Central Valley because they can't afford to live near campus. The university that educates California's leaders struggles to house its own faculty and staff in the community that surrounds it. Here's the academic equation that doesn't balance. $85,000 professor salaries can't support $900,000 home prices. Even shared housing arrangements cost $1,800 per person monthly for a 2-bedroom apartment. Berkeley has priced out the educators and intellectuals it claims to champion. Fremont. Fremont markets itself as the Bay Area's affordable alternative, a description that sounds increasingly like the cheapest mansion in Beverly Hills. Tech workers who can't afford Palo Alto push into communities once accessible to teachers and firefighters, creating waves of displacement. The spillover effect is devastating for working families. Google employees earning $180,000 compete with teachers earning $85,000 for the same homes. It's not a competition, It's a systematic elimination of economic diversity.
Home prices have jumped 40% since 2020,
reaching a $1.3 million median. Families need $260,000 down payments and $8,500 monthly incomes just to qualify for mortgages. Even dual-income professional households earning $150,000 find themselves instantly disqualified. Tesla's factory brought manufacturing jobs paying $75,000. But housing now requires $200,000 plus incomes. Factory workers commute from Stockton and Modesto, turning their lives into 4-hour daily struggles just to afford the homes their grandparents once bought on similar wages. The mathematics of spillover economics are unforgiving. Tech salaries drive up all housing costs, but only tech workers can afford the resulting prices. Everyone else gets forced into punishing commutes or leaves California entirely. Long Beach. Long Beach once promised to be Los Angeles's working-class alternative, a port city where longshoremen, teachers, and service workers could afford to buy homes. Instead, it became another casualty of California's housing speculation cycle. Port jobs that once supported homeownership now barely cover rent. Longshoremen earning $85,000 find themselves competing with Los Angeles refugees for homes that cost $850,000. The blue-collar economy that built Long Beach can no longer afford to live there. Pandemic-era remote work accelerated gentrification as workers discovered they could buy Long Beach properties for half the cost of Manhattan Beach. Families who had lived in neighborhoods for generations found themselves outbid by newcomers who saw opportunity where locals saw displacement. Listen to this brutal math. $85,000 salaries qualify for $255,000 mortgages, while Long Beach's median home costs $850,000. Even essential workers who keep the economy running can't afford to live where they work. For port workers, the choice becomes crystal clear. Accept financial ruin to stay, or leave the community their labor helped build. Oakland. Oakland presents families with an impossible choice: financial strain and safety concerns, or abandoning the Bay Area entirely. Home prices that might seem reasonable given local crime rates still crush middle-class budgets because nowhere in the region makes mathematical sense anymore. Good neighborhoods cost $1.2 million. Struggling neighborhoods cost $650,000. And there's no middle ground. Families gamble their children's safety to access homeownership, or pay premium prices for basic security they once took for granted. School quality forces additional calculations. Public education struggles in many areas, so families add $15,000 annual private school costs to housing expenses. The affordable home becomes unaffordable when educational quality is factored in. Oakland represents California's cruelest mathematics. Even crime-affected neighborhoods command luxury prices. When dangerous areas cost $650,000, the middle class has been completely eliminated from the equation. Riverside. Riverside marketed itself as the place where middle-class families could finally afford California homeownership. Instead, it has become a commuter prison where parents trade family time for property ownership they're rarely home to enjoy. The commute changes everything. Parents leave at 5:30 a.m., return at 8 p.m., and spend more time with strangers on freeways than with their own children. The house purchased for family stability becomes the reason family life deteriorates. Transportation costs eliminate housing savings. $600 monthly gas bills, $400 vehicle maintenance, $200 insurance increases from extra mileage. The $650,000 mortgage gets buried under $1,200 monthly transportation costs just to reach jobs that pay enough to service the debt. Insurance companies treat Riverside as a high-risk zone. Wind, fire, and earthquake coverage costs $6,000 plus annually. Families stretch to qualify for mortgages, then discover insurance requirements that strain budgets after closing. Here's the Inland Empire mathematics that are punishing families. $650,000 homes plus $1,200 commute costs, plus $6,000 insurance equals $4,800 monthly expenses. Add 15 hours weekly in traffic, and the affordable dream becomes family sacrifice. San Diego. San Diego ranks among America's most unaffordable markets, where paradise pricing meets service sector wages. Tourism defines the economy, but tourism jobs can't afford tourism destination housing costs.
Hotel workers earn $45,000, restaurant servers make $35,000, but homes cost $950,000. The gap isn't just challenging, it's insulting to the workers who make the tourism industry possible. Military families find themselves priced out of cities they serve. Navy personnel earning $65,000 can't afford housing near bases where they work. The people defending America discover they can't afford American housing in the communities they protect. Even educated professionals struggle. Teachers with master's degrees earn $85,000 while competing for million-dollar homes. Physical therapists, accountants, and engineers learn that middle-class careers translate to poverty-level housing access in San Diego. Listen to this paradise mathematics. $950,000 median homes require $190,000 down payments and $6,400 monthly payments. San Diego's median household income of $88,000 makes these numbers impossible, not just difficult. Los Angeles. Los Angeles home prices stand at 11.2 times median household income, making homeownership nearly impossible for middle-class families, according to international housing studies. LA has achieved the mathematical elimination of working-class homeownership. The entertainment industry that defines Los Angeles pays freelance wages while demanding permanent housing costs. Writers, actors, and crew members cycle between projects while trying to afford $850,000 starter homes. Creative careers become financial impossibilities in the creative capital. Proposition 13 has created parallel housing economies, where longtime residents pay $2,000 annual property taxes, while new buyers pay $12,000 for identical homes. The tax structure protects existing wealth while punishing new residents. Traffic congestion turns every housing choice into a time calculation. Living far enough to afford housing means 3 hours daily in traffic. Los Angeles forces families to choose between bankruptcy and family time. Here's the Hollywood mathematics that are impossible. $850,000 median homes require $170,000 down payments and $5,700 monthly payments. LA's median household income of $76,000 leaves even above average earners far short of qualifying. San Francisco ranks as the world's 8th most unaffordable housing market, not in America, but globally. Home prices at 15 times household incomes make it literally more expensive than London, Sydney, or Toronto. Tech wealth has eliminated the economic diversity that once made San Francisco livable. Teachers, firefighters, and nurses commute 2 hours from the Central Valley because the city they serve has eliminated their economic class entirely. Progressive policies intended to help working families have produced opposite results. Rent control reduces supply, inclusionary housing requirements increase costs, and environmental reviews prevent construction. Good intentions create devastating outcomes for the people policies meant to help. Even tech workers struggle with housing costs. Software engineers earning $150,000 can't afford $1.8 million condos. The industry that created San Francisco's wealth cannot house its own workforce. Listen to this global mathematics. $1.8 million median homes require $360,000 down payments and $12,000 monthly payments. San Francisco's median household income of $119,000 leaves even above average earners unable to access homeownership in their own city. San Jose. San Jose ranks as the world's 3rd most unaffordable housing market. Silicon Valley has achieved something unprecedented, making homeownership mathematically impossible for 90% of its own workforce. The tech capital that created California's wealth has eliminated California's middle class. Engineers earning $130,000 cannot afford starter homes costing $1.6 million. The innovation economy has innovated working families out of existence. Apple, Google, and Facebook employees commute from Stockton and Tracy, 3 hours daily to work for trillion-dollar companies that cannot house their employees. Silicon Valley has become a commuter colony for its own workers. Housing construction has been constrained by local politics. Only 18% of required affordable housing gets built because neighborhood opposition blocks projects. Democracy designed to serve residents has been captured by property owners protecting investments. Here's the Silicon Valley mathematics that are devastating. $1.6 million median homes require $320,000 down payments and $10,800 monthly payments. Tech workers earning $130,000 cannot qualify. The industry that revolutionized communication cannot solve basic housing for its creators.
San Jose represents the complete breakdown of the California housing model. When the world's most successful region cannot house middle-class families, the system has failed fundamentally. If this trajectory continues through 2026, Silicon Valley faces existential crisis. Picture trillion-dollar companies operating in a region where their own engineers live 3 hours away. Innovation hubs become ghost towns after 6 p.m. Startup culture dies because entrepreneurs can't afford to take risks, and California's tech dominance crumbles under the weight of its own housing policies. These 10 cities tell a story that extends far beyond California's borders. They represent places where housing has shifted from shelter to speculation, where communities become commodities, and where working families discover that following the rules no longer guarantees access to the American dream. The numbers reveal a systematic problem. 4 California metros rank among the most unaffordable markets on Earth. Teachers, nurses, firefighters, and engineers, the people who make communities function, find themselves priced out of the places they serve. Over 700,000 people have left California in recent years, representing the largest population exodus in state history. Behind each number is a family that calculated the mathematics of California living and decided the equation no longer worked. This isn't just about housing markets or economic cycles. It's about what happens when entire regions price out their essential workforce. When teachers can't live where they teach, when firefighters can't afford the communities they protect, and when nurses commute hours to care for patients. The California housing crisis forces a question that every American community must answer. Will we choose housing policies that serve families, or will we accept a system that treats homes as investment vehicles first and shelter second? Because what's happening in California isn't staying in California. It's spreading to communities across America, one overheated market at a time. And for working families everywhere, the mathematics are becoming increasingly clear. The dream may be changing, but the numbers don't lie. And the numbers are telling us that change is coming, whether we're ready or not.